Doug Demuro started as a journalist with a passion for cars. But today, he's a YouTube sensation with an enviable collection of rare and exotic machines. From quirky classics to multi-million-dollar supercars, like his 2005 Porsche Carrera GT, acquired for a jaw-dropping price, Doug's garage is as eclectic as his personality. But what drives his obsession? And how did he go from reviewing cars to owning some of the world's most sought-after models? Let's take a deep dive into his one-of-a-kind collection. Number 1. 2005 Porsche Carrera GT. In Doug's words, the 2005 Porsche Carrera GT is the greatest sports car of all time. And honestly, he might be right. It represents everything purists love: naturally aspirated V10, 605 horsepower that goes to 8,400 RPM, manual transmission, and no modern electric nannies to interfere with the driving experience. Porsche had initially developed the engine for Le Mans racing, but when regulations changed, they decided to drop it into a road-going masterpiece instead. Before we go any further, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss another exclusive look at some of the quirkiest, rarest, and most fascinating cars ever assembled. Back in 2004, you could have picked one up if you had just under 500 grand to spare. Today, good luck finding one under 1.5 million. Doug, a lifelong fan, finally pulled the trigger in 2023, fulfilling a dream that started when he was just a kid taking pictures of exotics with his point-and-shoot camera. The Carrera GT was the last gasp of the analog supercar era. No turbochargers, no hybrid assistance, just a carbon fiber monocoque, a notoriously finicky $50,000 clutch, and a 6-speed manual transmission that required skill to master. This was Porsche at its absolute peak, pushing the limits of automotive technology for the time. In an era of automatic everything, the Carrera GT is more desirable than ever. Doug's specific example is in remarkable shape. While he originally dreamed of a yellow one, the premium for that color was a few $100,000 extra. So he went with GT Silver, the press car color, which, let's be real, still looks absolutely stunning. Plus, with this purchase, he also scored the rare bespoke Porsche luggage that came with the car. Will he ever use it? Probably not, but it's nice to have. So how does it drive? Well, Doug talks about it every chance he gets. The precision, the balance, the sheer insanity of wringing out that V10 on an open road. And while modern supercars might be faster, none can replicate the visceral connection of rowing through the Carrera GT's gated shifter. That's what makes it special. Number 2. 2005 Ford GT. Doug picked up his Ford GT from one of his old bosses, and while it might not be as rare as the Carrera GT, it's still one of the most legendary American supercars ever built. Ford designed the GT as a tribute to the original GT40 that dominated Le Mans in the 1960s. With a 5.4-liter supercharged V8 engine pumping out 550 horsepower, a lightweight aluminum and carbon fiber construction, and an old-school 6-speed manual, the 2005 Ford GT was a force to be reckoned with. Even today, its 0 to 60 time of 3.7 seconds and 205 mph top speed hold on remarkably well. Doug's Ford had 30,000 miles when he bought it, and instead of letting it sit in a climate-controlled garage like many collectors, he actually drives it. Grocery runs? Yep. Commuting? You bet. He treats it like a regular sports car, which is both hilarious and awesome. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. One of the Ford GT's biggest quirks, Doug's favorite word, is its doors. Instead of opening normally, they take part of the roof with them. It looks cool, sure, but it also means you have to be extra careful when getting in or out, unless you want to smack yourself in the head every time. And while it's an absolute blast to drive, Doug admits that he's always a little nervous about its value. Prices have skyrocketed in recent years, with the average 2005 Ford GT selling for around $391,000. Not bad for a car that originally cost about 130 grand new. But here's the thing, Doug loves it. Despite the quirks and rising value making him slightly paranoid, it's a car that brings him joy. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? Number 3. 2020 Land Rover Defender. If you're old enough to remember the classic Defender, you probably picture it as the ultimate no-frills off-roader, a bare-bones, built-for-war machine that laughed in the face of modern luxuries. But as cool as those Defenders were, they were also brutal to live with. They rode like tractors, leaked when it rained, and had all the crash safety of a tin can. The 2020 Land Rover Defender was built on Land Rover's new D7X platform, and this version ditches the old school body-on-frame design for a unibody structure with independent suspension. Some folks cried sacrilege, but it was time for an upgrade. Doug's Defender 110 SE came loaded with goodies. Heated seats, a panoramic roof, and adaptive cruise control ensured he was just as comfortable on the highway as he was bashing through the backcountry. But that wasn't all. It also had a $4,800 Explorer pack, a roof rack for all the adventure gear, a snorkel for deep water crossings, or just looking cool, and an odd little side-mounted cargo pod that looked like it was stolen from a NASA rover. Under the hood, his Defender packs a 3-liter inline-6 with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. That means 395 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque, more than enough grunt to move this 5,773-pound beast. Sure, it's not the lightest thing on the road, but it'll still hit 60 in just 6.3 seconds. Pretty wild for something shaped like a brick. Number 4. 1999 Mercedes G500 Cabriolet. The G-Class started life as a military vehicle, tough, boxy, and ready to tackle any terrain. But by the 1990s, Mercedes decided it was time to give it a more luxurious spin. The G500 Cabriolet is a 2-door soft-top version of the G-Wagon that combines serious off-road chops with high-end luxury. Think of it as a Range Rover that spent a semester abroad and returned speaking 5 languages. Doug was drawn to this particular G500 for a good reason. He wanted the Defender experience without the compromises. His 97 Defender 90 soft top had all the charm in the world, but none of the creature comforts. No power windows, no modern safety features, and certainly no ability to cruise comfortably on the freeway. With a growing family, Doug needed something that offered the same open-air fun with much more safety and usability. The G500 Cabriolet fits the bill perfectly. Under the hood, it packs a naturally aspirated V8, pushing out anywhere between 292 and 388 horsepower, depending on the model year. It's mated to either a 5-speed or 7-speed automatic transmission, sending power to all 4 wheels through a full-time all-wheel drive system with 3 locking differentials. This thing can climb a mountain just as easily as it can cruise down Rodeo Drive, and that's exactly the appeal. Inside, the G500 Cabriolet is all Mercedes luxury: leather upholstery, premium sound, and even heated seats. Later models got touchscreen displays, Bluetooth, and advanced safety features like stability control and additional airbags. The 2-door layout makes it even more special. Sure, it's not the most practical thing in the world, but practicality isn't why you buy one of these. You buy it because it's cool, it's rare, and it makes every drive feel like an event. Number 5. The 2022 Mercedes-Benz E450 all-terrain wagon. Some guys want a flashy sports car, but Doug? He wants a station wagon disguised as an SUV. And if there's one thing Mercedes does well, it's making wagons that check all the right boxes. At first glance, the E450 all-terrain might fool you into thinking it's just another upscale crossover because of the phony SUV styling. But this has pure E-Class wagon DNA under the surface. It's got the premium interior of an E-Class sedan, but with a roomier cargo bay and a rear-facing third-row seat. Like the old-school family wagons from the 70s and 80s, you can throw a few, probably smaller, passengers back there for a nostalgic, backward-facing ride. Under the hood, things get even more exciting. This luxury long roof is powered by a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that cranks out a robust 362 horsepower, assisted by a 48-volt hybrid system. That means quick acceleration and smooth power delivery, all while maintaining efficiency. The all-wheel drive is standard, so it'll easily handle a snowy road trip. And speaking of performance, this thing blasted from 0 to 60 at the test track in just 4.4 seconds. That's shockingly fast for a family hauler. One of the biggest changes in this model is its raised adjustable air suspension. While that extra ground clearance might be a selling point for some, it's also introduced a bit of skittishness to the ride. Bumps in the road feel more pronounced than in previous E-Class wagons, which is a bit of a step back in refinement. But hey, that's the trade-off for a more rugged look and feel, right? Inside, the E450 all-terrain is all about comfort and luxury. The fit and finish are impeccable, with various high-end materials. The base seats are covered in synthetic leather, so convincing that you'd swear it was the real deal. And then there's the cargo space. perhaps the biggest selling point of any station wagon. With the rear seats folded, the E-Class wagon swallowed up 24 carry-on suitcases in a test. Talking about numbers, the E450 all-terrain starts at $69,000, but we can bet that Doug splurged on the massaging front seats, the driver assistance package, and the premium package, because when you're rolling in an E-Class wagon, you might as well go all in. Number 6. 1994 Audi RS Avant is the station wagon that started the high-performance long roof craze, and Doug, being the wagon fanatic he is, just had to have one. For those who don't know, the RS2 was a joint effort between Audi and Porsche. The engine is a turbocharged 2.2-liter 5-cylinder that pumps an astonishing 311 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque. And before you scoff at those numbers, remember, this was 1994. Those were serious figures back then, enough to rocket this unassuming wagon from 0 to 60 in just 4.8 seconds. To put that into perspective, it was quicker than a Ferrari 348 of the same era. The RS2 wasn't just fast in a straight line. Thanks to Porsche-designed suspension and brakes, this thing handled like a dream. The large red calipers? Straight from a Porsche 968. The wheels? Also Porsche. Even the side mirrors and fog lamps were borrowed from Stuttgart's finest. And if that wasn't enough, pop the hood and you'll see the words "Powered by Porsche" stamped right on the engine. And the best part? The RS2 was a sleeper in every sense of the word. To the untrained eye, it looked like a regular Audi 80 Avant, a respectable family wagon, nothing more. But to those in the know, it was a wolf in sheep's clothing. It was the kind of car that could humiliate a sports car at a stoplight while still carrying a whole load of groceries in the back. Inside, the RS2 had all the right touches. Recaro sports seats wrapped in black leather, carbon fiber trim on the dashboard and door panels, and a leather-wrapped shift knob that felt just right. It even had a rear differential lock button on the center console for when you wanted to have some fun. Audi originally planned to build 2,200 of these, but demand was so high that they made 2,891 before pulling the plug. Today, finding one in good condition is no easy task. Prices have skyrocketed, and pristine examples sell for well into the six-figure range. Doug bought his from Canada for 70 grand as soon as it was legal to import to the US. Number 7. Doug's 2013 Toyota Land Cruiser might seem more normal compared to some of the flashier vehicles in his garage, but don't be fooled. It's one of the most respected and capable SUVs ever built. If you know anything about Land Cruisers, you know they are built to last forever. These things are practically indestructible. Doug picked this one up to replace his old Range Rover, and honestly, it's a smart move. A Land Cruiser will keep going when everything else breaks down. The 2013 model carries on Toyota's 60-year legacy of building off-roaders that can tackle just about anything. And Toyota went all in with this version. Mechanically, Toyota didn't mess with perfection. The Land Cruiser kept its body-on-frame construction and high-tech kinetic dynamic suspension system. This genius bit of engineering lets the anti-roll bar disengage for better wheel articulation when you're off-roading. And if you've ever taken a Land Cruiser off the beaten path, you know just how valuable that feature is. It also has a multi-terrain select system, which acts like a limited slip differential, adjusting wheel slip based on the terrain. Then there's the crawl control system, which helps navigate tricky rock climbs without touching the gas or brake. It's like off-roading on autopilot. Under the hood sits Toyota's legendary 5.7-liter V8, pumping out 381 horsepower and a monstrous 401 pound-feet of torque, paired with a 6-speed automatic transmission. For the 2013 model, Toyota added some sharp-looking chrome accents, a redesigned front grille, new HID headlights, LED daytime running lights, and fresh 18-inch wheels. Inside, you'll find ventilated front seats, upgraded leather, a revised instrument panel, and Toyota's Entune infotainment system. The cherry on top? Adaptive cruise control and even more safety tech. Now, let's talk about the big, bad, brand new beast in Doug's collection. Number 8. The 2024 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. The Sequoia TRD Pro is built to conquer both the highway and the most challenging trails and uses hybrid power. Yes, hybrid. Toyota threw in their impressive iForce Max hybrid system, pairing a 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 with a 48 horsepower electric motor. The The result is a staggering 437 horsepower and an absolutely mind-blowing 583 pound-feet of torque. That's muscle car level torque in an off-road ready SUV. It's all mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, giving you smooth shifting and solid fuel efficiency for a vehicle of this size. Talking about its presence, the Sequoia TRD Pro looks tough, with its massive 18-inch BBS wheels wrapped in chunky 285/65 tires. The sculpted V-shaped hood is downright menacing, with fake vents just for the extra aggressive touch. Step inside and it's clear Toyota didn't skimp on comfort. The soft-tech seats have a cool camouflage pattern, and they're heated, cooled, and power adjustable with lumbar support. The steering wheel feels fantastic, with a TRD logo at the bottom and a red stripe at the top, perfect for keeping track of your steering angle when you're on steep climbs. Firing up this Sequoia brings a high-tech experience to life. A 12-inch digital gauge cluster displays everything you need, from fuel economy to hybrid system stats. But the real showstopper is the massive 14-inch touchscreen infotainment system. This thing controls everything: navigation, JBL 14-speaker stereo, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and more. It's super fast and intuitive, though some might find it a little lacking in color. You'll find climate controls, heated and cooled seat buttons, and a row of extra switches underneath that. There's even a 360-degree camera that gives you a full top-down view of the vehicle, which is excellent for tricky parking situations or off-roading. The second row captain's chairs are just as comfy as the front seats, with heating and cooling. Rear passengers also get climate control, USB ports, and a 120-volt power outlet. The third row is power adjustable and can slide forward for extra cargo space. Number 9. The 1983 Lamborghini Countach. When Lamborghini introduced the Countach in 1974, it turned the world of performance cars upside down. Designed by the legendary Marcello Gandini, the Countach combined sharp angles, aggressive lines, and scissor doors into something that looked like it belonged in a sci-fi movie rather than on a suburban street. Doug's 1983 Countach is a later model, meaning it benefits from some of the refinements made over the years. Demuro has already compiled a list of things to tweak and improve, including fixing a sagging headliner that, amusingly, kept falling onto his head during his initial drives. But even with its quirks, Doug is smitten, and who wouldn't be? It packs a naturally aspirated V12 engine, a staple of Lamborghini's performance legacy. Over the years, this engine grew in displacement, culminating in a 5.2-liter version capable of over 450 horsepower. The sound alone is enough to send shivers down the spine of any gearhead. Performance-wise, the Countach was a true monster in its day. A 0 to 60 time of under 5 seconds and a top speed of 180 miles per hour were jaw-dropping numbers for the 1980s. One of the most fascinating things about the Countach is how its value has skyrocketed over the years. Doug mentions that well-kept examples are now fetching up to $700,000, with the average sales price hovering around $523,000. That's a far cry from when these cars were just used exotics sitting in the classifieds for a fraction of that price. Number 10. The 2018 Kia Stinger GT2 is a car that many enthusiasts overlooked until they drove one. Kia might not be the first brand that comes to mind when you think about performance, but the Stinger G2 is proof that they weren't messing around. Let's start with the numbers. The Stinger G2 comes equipped with a twin-turbocharged 3.3-liter V6, cranking out 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. That's serious power, especially considering it'll rocket from 0 to 60 in just 4.7 seconds. But the Stinger isn't just about straight-line speed. This thing is an absolute joy to drive. The steering is sharp, the handling is composed, and thanks to its rear-biased all-wheel drive system, it's got excellent grip without sacrificing the fun factor. Whether you're carving up a back road or cruising on the highway, the Stinger delivers a balance of excitement and refinement that's rare at this price point. Speaking of price, Doug's fully loaded GT2 variant had an MSRP of $52,300 when new. Inside, the Stinger's cabin is surprisingly premium. The heated and cooled seats, 15-speaker Harman Kardon audio system, and an 18-inch touchscreen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay make it feel like a high-end sports sedan rather than a Kia. And then there's the practicality. Unlike most sports sedans, the Stinger has a hatchback design, meaning it offers far more cargo space than its competitors. With the seats up, it provides 23.3 cubic feet of storage, and that expands to 40.9 cubic feet with the rear seats down. Whether you're hauling groceries, luggage, or a complete set of golf clubs, the Stinger gets the job done. And that's a wrap on Doug Demuro's eclectic car collection. From quirky classics to modern performance beasts, his garage is all about personality, history, and of course, quirks and features. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more amazing car content. Let us know in the comments which of Doug's cars you would take for a spin. Don't forget to turn on notifications for more epic car tours. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.